Before we turn our attention to the Bowling Green game this week, can you take us back for your final thoughts on Jack State from last weekend?
Yeah, disappointed obviously in the outcome. We went back and looked. I thought our team played extremely hard and competed and kept fighting. The thing that I look back on is we just didn't play well together at times. And to win games against good teams, you got to play well together. And a lot of learning opportunity from it. I think our guys, once they got back and you saw some of the things that we did or didn't do, they're all fixable. The running back's a great player. He's a great player. He did well. We really struggled to tackle him, and I think we ended up with I think he had I think we gave up over 110 yards after initial contact. So those things that we got to improve there. But disappointed again. But we're not going to look backwards. I told our team that we didn't get the job done, and we got to move forward because we got a good quality opponent that's out of conference, and we got to get back on the horse.
When you look back at it from a defensive standpoint, was it tackling? Obviously, that was an issue. Was that the primary? Was there anything that you look back on it now and go, man, I wish we had done this, from a schematic standpoint, or just your evaluation there?
I think there's a little bit of both. I think, obviously, when you had some opportunities to tackle and put them in some bad situations, and we weren't able to do it, so they were able to, instead of being maybe in a third down, they got another first down. I think we probably could have been a little bit more aggressive in some situations. When you're giving up some maybe some chunk yardage, you get a little gun shy on certain things, and we probably could have been a little bit aggressive, especially on some third downs. We had them in some third downs, and couldn't get them off the field, and maybe because we just were worried about maybe what they were going to do or some of the execution or how we could execute it. And you got to be aggressive and go with your gut. And I think we'll learn from that. But I don't think overall our scheme was bad. I think our guys understood we were in places to make some plays. We just didn't do them when we needed to. And when we had opportunities to get them off the field, we especially there in the fourth quarter, we just couldn't do it. They were 2nd and 20. And they got it. We had a foolish penalty, and then there was another third down on that drive, and couldn't get it done.
How much did C.J. Bazell's loss in the second half hurt as well?
I thought Brenton Williams played a really good game, and Brenton's a really good player. But when you lose somebody like C.J., just from a depth standpoint, from a freshness standpoint, from an energy standpoint, it does hurt from that standpoint there. But he wasn't. Everybody else was missing tackles. It wasn't necessary that position. So,
when you say things fix, you mentioned it was fixable. Whether that's offensively, defensively. I guess how far away do you feel like the team is from maybe being at that level where you mentioned it fixable, where you're at that top?
Yeah, and I think if we're talking defense, I think the fixable was missed tackles happen because you assume that one guy's going to get them down. And so we got one guy that makes a great play on somebody, but then everybody else is sort of standing around. Oh, he got him down. And if you're swarming the football the way you should be, then maybe that missed tackle you tackle them for 4 yards instead of 15, right? And so those are the things that are fixable. We assume too much, and that'll be fixed where guys will be swarming the ball. Missed tackles happen. Everybody's getting missed tackles, but you don't want to have people standing around thinking that guy's going to make a tackle and he takes it 20, 30 yards. And so we can fix that. I think, on the other side of the ball, offensively, if you go back and look, if you just look statistically, we're up and down the field there. We stopped ourselves with the 3 turnovers if you count a fourth down stop. And we just got to be able to score more points. We had 3 penalties total in the game. We had a holding penalty there towards the end when we're trying to just come back at the very end. We had a false start, and then we had one more, I think. All 3 of those drives ended in punts. So 3 little penalties and all ended in punts, and we got to do a better job of overcoming. And so those are things that I don't think I think we're playing relatively disciplined. If you told me, hey, you're going to have 3 penalties total, that's pretty dang good. But those 3 penalties, it killed drives, and so those are the things that are all definitely fixable. We just have to do a better job of overcoming some of those things. But we can't turn the ball over at the end of the day, and when you turn the ball over against a really good team but a great player, they're going to take advantage of it, and they did.
You went to bring back there at the end kicking. Do you think that's an open competition going forward? Do you think Braden's got the good job?
Well, we've got to make our kicks. You know, we've missed 2 kicks now in 2 games, and you know, first game, okay, you got some new time, new place, but the kick that we missed, you know, last Saturday, I mean, it was a chip shot. We're on the 10-yard line, 7-yard line, whatever it may be. You got to make those kicks. You know, those are huge momentum terms, and so we're going to open it back up this week and just see. You know, the thing about Jay, which was great, during fall camp, he was 42 of 45, which was pretty dang good. 42 of 45. Now he's 1 out of 3. He's missed 2 games, you know, and so we got to make those kicks. I know he's not, you know, trying to miss those on purpose, but you got to be able to handle the pressure. And so we're going to open it back up from there. We put Max got a little banged up during the game there, and so that's why Braden kicked off for us. Obviously, kicked it out of bounds. So another thing, kicking games got to improve, but it'll be open. We'll see. We'll see. We might try somebody new out there. We'll see how it goes this week.
How receptive has the team been to the attitude that the effort's been there, but there are a lot of things that need to be cleaned up?
They realize it. They know. I think anytime you don't play as well as you want, I mean, they saw that you know, we're down, and we kept coming back and kept punching and kept fighting back. But I think they understand that, and they know the expectations. I think right now it's just we got to do a better job, and they just got to continue to believe in themselves. Sometimes you have a bad day, you know, and we didn't play as well collectively as we needed to, offensively or defensively, and you can lose confidence over that. But sometimes it's just a bad day, and our guys need to realize that we can be a good team. We got to clean some things up and just keep believing in themselves, you know. And that's, to me, is my job is to let them know that, hey, we continue to believe in what we're doing and how we're doing it, and we'll need to get better from there. And they just got to believe that, and they will. But it's disappointing when you have expectations of how you want to play individually and as a group beside a ball, and you don't do it. You know, it hurts you, you know, when you have high expectations, and so they were not feeling good about how they performed overall, you know, and you pick them back up and you move forward.
We talked last week about pass protection, offensive line. This week, 4 sacks. What's your concern level between that, but then also some of the injuries? You know, Badowski came out again here this week, just shuffling guys around there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, early we've had a little bit of bang up front, and we've had to shuffle some guys in. You know, if we put ourselves in a position, where we're in some 3rd and longs and way backed up, you know, we're not built from a standpoint of where if we're having to throw it ever down, we're probably going to give up some sack. We gave up a couple there towards the end, which I don't want to happen. Quarterback's got to do a better job of stepping up. Our line's got to do a better job of blocking. But the injuries and being able to shuffle people around, we got some guys playing at some different positions, and when that happens, it's going to cause maybe unfortunately, some sacks and some of those things. And you don't want any, obviously, but the quarterback's got to do a better job like early in the game. You know, we get that sack fumble. That wasn't on the O-line. I mean, that was on the quarterback. He'll tell you that. You know, he had opportunities to get rid of the ball, didn't do it, and you got to have an internal clock. You know, so when you look at all those things, all of it goes into effect. Could the quarterback stepped up here if possible? Maybe he could, maybe he could, maybe he couldn't. Those are little things there that we got to continue to prove, and we'll get better on that.
First real bit of adversity with this group this season. How have they responded so far, and how do you hope they continue to respond this week?
I think they're ticked off, and again, are they ticked off? They lost, sure, but more, I think they're ticked off more about just how they played. Right? You can play really well and get beat. That happens, right? I think it's more about I'm not saying we're not upset about the loss. We are, but more upset about just the way we played. And so they responded in a good way yesterday. They've had a good attitude, and today will determine a lot, right? Today's is a big practice, and from a preparation standpoint. But in meetings yesterday, in our team meeting, just going over the game, going over things, they had a good attitude. They owned everything, and that's what you want. You don't want people pointing fingers. You don't want people deferring other places. You want to say, hey, this was on us, and you want them to go out and get better. And I like our leadership, and I know we'll go out and get better.
Looking at Bowling Green, how many times have you coached against a Heisman winner?
Yeah, not many that I can think of. I was trying to think back. Now I don't know if there was any that I can remember. Played against a couple, but from that standpoint, yeah.
What do they do well that you've seen so far, and how much have you been able to take away from their first 2 games, just given the difference in opponents that they've played?
They're big and physical. When you play a MAC team, they're built. Some of them are built similar. They're big guys. They move well. They're well coached. They're from a defensive standpoint. They're D coordinators. His father was a longtime NFL coach. They're really well coached. They play hard. I think they've got 2 really, really great linebackers, and so they're a big physical group. And then offensively, they do a good job of they're going to be a traditional pro style where they're going to run the ball at you down your throat and run power and some things that you typically see in Big Ten type situations. And so you can see that they've got his mindset on him. The way he ran, the way he played, he was a tough physical back. You can tell that they've taken on his personality, and so it's going to be a big challenge for us because they've got some good players and they got confident. They played Cincinnati well. Had opportunities in that Cincinnati game, and so really good in the return game. So we'll have to play well to have a chance to win.
Got time to roll on more with Coach.
CJ, Bazile, also Mike Jarvis, and Trey Badowski. Do you think there's any long-term
Right now, they're all. I would tell you they're all doubtful for this week. So how long we can get back? Not saying they can't get there early in the week, but if it was today, if you had to make a decision, they wouldn't play.